the largest data center project ever proposed. A campus bigger than the Pentagon, planned right beside a Civil War battlefield, has just collapsed after years of resistance. From a record crowd packing a courthouse in Arkansas to Maine becoming the first state in the nation to slam the door shut, the revolt against the AI data center boom is no longer on the fringes. It's winning. We begin with a stunning defeat for the data center industry. After years of lawsuits, protests, and public hearings, the company QTS has walked away from the Prince William Digital Gateway, a project that would have been the single largest data center campus on the planet. On July 2, QTS quietly withdrew its final appeal before the Supreme Court of Virginia, killing a 2,100-acre, 22 million square foot complex planned right at the edge of the Manassas National Battlefield, where Americans fought and died in the Civil War. Virginia courts had already voided the project's rezoning over a flawed public notice, and the co-developer, Compass, had abandoned the site back in May. For the preservationists and neighbors who fought this for years, the timing, just before the nation's 250th birthday, could not be sweeter. That victory in Virginia is part of a much larger legal war now raging in courtrooms across the country, and Kentucky has become a key battleground. In the small town of Cave City, a group calling itself the Kentucky Industrial Alliance has sued to overturn the city's one-year moratorium on data centers, arguing the pause is unreasonable and that officials never clearly explained why it was needed. The city isn't backing down. It has asked a judge to throw the lawsuit out entirely, with a crucial hearing scheduled for July 20, and Cave City isn't alone. A parallel legal fight is unfolding in nearby Simpson County, where local governments, concerned residents, and a data center developer are squaring off over a proposed site near Franklin. The message from the industry is blunt: challenge us, and we'll see you in court. But if developers were hoping the public would lose interest, this next story shows the exact opposite. In Union County, Arkansas, county leaders called an emergency quorum court meeting on June 30, and residents showed up in numbers officials say were the largest that court has ever seen. When the vote came, it wasn't close. Every single member voted to approve a one-year moratorium on new data centers. At the center of the fight is Paradox Data, which already runs a small cryptocurrency mining operation in El Dorado and had signed a binding letter of intent with a Florida firm, Z-Squared, to expand it. Residents worried about power, water, and noise packed the room and made their opposition impossible to ignore. The pause runs through July of next year, giving the county time to study what such a facility would really mean for the community. That anxiety over strained utilities is grounded in hard numbers. And this week the pressure on the power grid came into sharp focus. In Virginia, the world's largest data center hub, a brand new tax took effect on July 1, charging data centers just over 1 cent for every kilowatt-hour of electricity they consume. A direct attempt to make the industry help pay for its enormous appetite. And that appetite is exploding. Nationwide, data center power demand has nearly doubled, from 23 gigawatts in 2023 to around 42 gigawatts today. The country's largest grid operator, PJM, now warns it could fall roughly 6 gigawatts short of its reliability target as soon as 2027. In other words, the machines behind artificial intelligence are growing faster than the grid that powers them can possibly keep up. The strain on the grid is only half the story. Water tells the other half. And a sweeping new analysis lays it bare. Researchers found that about 2/3 of the 809 data centers now planned across the United States are slated for land that has been gripped by drought over the past year. The scale of the thirst is hard to fathom. A single large facility can consume up to 1 billion gallons of water a year, and as much as 2.7 million gallons on a single hot summer day, just to keep its servers cool. Communities are pushing back. 36 states are now weighing new rules on data center water use. And North Carolina has already approved a 1-year pause driven specifically by water concerns. In a warming country, that quiet competition between server farms and household taps is only intensifying. State legislators are taking notice. And one state has now gone further than any other in the nation. Maine's lawmakers gave final approval to a bill known as LD 307, banning any data center larger than 20 megawatts until November of 2027. With that vote, Maine became the very first state in America to enact a statewide data center moratorium. Not a local county pause, but a blanket freeze across the entire state. And it's part of a remarkable surge. More than 300 data center-related bills have now been filed across some 30 state legislatures. Just this month, Arizona froze its data center sales tax exemption for 3 years, while Illinois and Ohio paused their own incentive programs after years of rolling out the red carpet. Statehouses are now competing just as hard to slow the boom down. Yet despite that regulatory wave, construction is pressing forward at breathtaking scale. In the fast-growing corridor between Austin and San Antonio, the developers Cloudburst and Evolve are building a flagship artificial intelligence campus, designed to reach 1.2 gigawatts of capacity, enough to power a small city. The price tag is roughly $14.5 billion, spread across 10 to 12 buildings and some 3 million square feet, with the first 50-megawatt phase set to go live by the end of this year. Most striking is how they plan to power it. A deal with Energy Transfer will pipe in up to 450,000 million BTU of natural gas every single day, enough to generate more than 1.8 gigawatts of electricity on site, largely bypassing the strained public grid entirely. It's a vivid glimpse of how the industry intends to keep building, no matter the resistance. And the financial firepower behind all this construction is simply staggering. This week, the data center operator Switch launched a private funding round targeting $2 billion. Led by Andreessen Horowitz, one of Silicon Valley's most famous venture firms, which is committing $400 million of its own money. The raise would value the Las Vegas-based company at close to $50 billion including debt, as it prepares for a possible public offering as soon as next year. Switch already operates major data centers in Nevada, Michigan, Texas, and Georgia, serving marquee clients like NVIDIA, Google, and Tesla. For all the fights playing out in county courthouses and statehouses, Wall Street and Silicon Valley clearly still see these server farms as some of the most valuable real estate on Earth. That tension between booming investment and rising resistance is the story we'll keep following. Thanks for watching. If you found this useful, subscribe, leave a like, and drop a comment. It helps us cover more of these stories.